I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into Monday Night Raw from June the 15th, 2026. This was an okay episode of Raw for the most part. Oba Femi advanced to the finals to where he will either face Jey Uso or he'll face Javon Evans. Hopefully, it is Javon Evans that goes to the finals, and it'll be Javon Evans versus Oba Femi. But we all know more than likely it'll be main event Jey Uso that will advance this coming Friday on SmackDown. So, hopefully it happens. But there's a slight chance to where it may not happen, especially after what happened on this show between LA Knight and Jey Uso. I think they're going to probably continue that feud. So I think that's where this is all going. So maybe Oba ends up winning, and he does end up going after Cody Rhodes. Right? Because if he goes after Roman, he's got to win. If he goes after Cody, he's got to win. But I don't know. But I've got a glimmer of hope, a small bit of hope, to where Oba Femi could walk away as the winner. Charlotte Flair, she ended up advancing in the Queen of the Ring, so that's fine. No problem there. Same thing with Iyo Sky, so there's that. Not really all that important. We all knew that those two were going to advance anyway. Jacob Fatu is now officially a part of the Bloodline. That was the big thing on this show, the big angle on this show. So he's now officially a part of the Bloodline. He's no longer the outsider. He's no longer on the outside looking in. He's finally in. He's finally on the inside. So that's fine there. And I think that's it. Like, nothing else of note happened on this show. I mean, shit, that's, Triple H booking 101, just further maybe one or two angles and then just throw shit at the wall for the rest of the show. And that's what we got on the show. So whatever, man. Whatever. Who cares, man? So we kicked the show off as per usual with the Bloodline. So Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, they all showed up in SUVs. Roman came out in a black one, and the Usos came out in a white one, so there's that. Who really cares? That occurred on the outside, and then Jacob Fatu showed up, and then Roman dapped them up and everything and all that. So we kicked the show off with the Bloodline. So Roman Reigns gets a good reaction. So Roman wanted Baltimore, Maryland to acknowledge him. He said life is good and touted Jey Uso advancing in the King of the Ring. He asked fans to acknowledge him. He called Jey the right-hand man. Roman said people are trying to stir up trouble by saying he favors Jey over Jimmy. Roman said without Big Jim, there wouldn't be a right-hand man or a tribal chief or a bloodline. He asked Baltimore to acknowledge Jimmy as well. And then the fans chanted Fatu, Fatu. Roman began to take notice. Jey got on the mic. And Jey said that he's glad to hear that chant because he hasn't been acknowledged yet. So Roman's kind of stern, and he gives Jimmy an irritated scowl. So more bloodline dissension. Jey said Jacob Fatu doesn't listen, and he needs to acknowledge us. So Roman says it sounds like we have a problem. So Roman walked up to Jacob Fatu and said, you don't want to acknowledge them. So then Jacob took the mic away very forcefully. He says, when it comes to Jimmy and Jey, did he listen to them? Hell nah. He said the only one he acknowledges is the OTC Roman Reigns. So Roman asked one of the production guys or whatever, or one of the guys standing at ringside to bring in a package that had a Ula Fala in it. And Roman said that he's hearing the rumblings that the Bloodline's going to run the business again. He said that never stopped, and they've always had. He talked about the Violence Samoans in the 80s, Yokozuna in the 90s, and that was the Bloodline. He mentioned Umaga main eventing WrestleMania, and the Usos becoming the greatest tag team to ever live. That was the Bloodline. He said that when their kids are teaming up together in 20 years, that's the Bloodline. I'm like, damn. Roman told Jacob that he used to be on the outside, but now he's on the inside. And then he says, Jacob, welcome to the family business. Jacob, welcome to the Bloodline. Roman then puts the Ula Fala around Jacob Fatu's neck, which gets a mixed crowd reaction, and then that was it. So, this was a fine segment. It didn't last too long. It went about a good maybe 12 minutes or so. This is fine. I do kind of like this. Jacob Fatu is in the Solo Sikoa position that Solo was in about maybe 4 years ago. So he's in that position, which is fine. Again, we all know this is going to lead to more tension in due time. It's going to be a slow burn to where Jacob Fatu is just going to fall in line, and eventually he's going to do what Jimmy and Jey did, and that's turn on Roman. You know, it's like a hamster on a wheel, basically, type of stuff, basically. So it's fine. It is what it is. You know, it's like the greatest hits. You know, it's like the greatest hits are on a loop. You know, like let's say you're listening to a certain musical artist, rapper, singer, whatever, band, whatever, and you got like one of their songs on loop. That's kind of like what this Bloodline stuff is. It's just where you have this one song on constant loop, and that's just it. So post-match, well, my bad, I'm sorry. So the Bloodline, they walk up to the ramp, and then actor-comedian Eric Andre, so he was smiling. He dapped up Roman Reigns. Jey gave him a mean look. Jimmy did smile and shook his hand. And then he accidentally touched Jacob Fatu, and then he touched the Ula Fala, and Jacob Fatu, he went fucking insane. He ended up yanking him over the barricade. So Jacob ended up doing a Uso splash from the top rope. Roman told him to do it one more time, and Jacob ended up doing it one more time, and then that was it. So this got a pretty good reaction. I was kind of taken back by it. Not really, though. I mean, we clearly know that this was all just a ruse, basically. This was all planned. It was all pre-planned. So this is fine. I mean, it got a good reaction. So, you know, he took some wild bumps, which is fine. So, that's fine. This is fine, though. So it is what it is. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night. Iyo Sky advances in the Queen of the Ring. She defeated Raquel Rodriguez. The match was pretty okay. Raquel's getting better every single week. She is working the female Kevin Nash style, which suits her perfectly. She should have been doing that for the past maybe 2 or 3 years. I think she was injured. I think she was injured maybe a couple years ago. I can't remember, but she was injured for a little bit. But ever since she's gotten back from injury, she's been wrestling this big sexy mom, big sexy cool mama type of style. So I like it. Good, good stuff. Iyo ended up winning over the moonsault, so this is fine. It is what it is. So there's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Judgment Day nonsense. So, Liv Morgan, she's talking to Roxanne Perez backstage about how sad it was that Raquel lost. Liv said they should focus on themselves now. Roxanne Perez said that Charlotte Flair won't be 100% on Friday. Liv said she's going to step up. So Liv then walked into Danhausen's laboratory. So Danhausen said he was happy to see her. She asked him to curse her opponent. Danhausen asked for human monies and to be in her music video. And then she walked away. So there's that. It is what it is. This is fine. I don't give a fuck about this. Moving on from that, we get a video package of Danhausen, his interactions with Stephen A. Smith, and how he put curses on the New York. Well, he put curses on the Spurs and everything else and all that stuff. So that was hilarious. So there's that. Are we getting too much Danhausen? No, not really. I mean, Danhausen makes the show a little bit more fun, if we're being honest. So, yeah. Because without Danhausen, you don't really have much comedy relief on Raw. You got some in R-Truth on SmackDown. So, there's that. Moving on. This leads us into a vignette by Seth Rollins. So, Seth Rollins talks about bringing Bron Breakker into his vision. Seth Rollins said he tried to give him the world, but he took his world from him. Seth Rollins said the moment has arrived for him to right his wrongs. Then he called out Bron Breakker for a match at Night of Champions in a steel cage. This is fine. This should be the end of their feud with Seth Rollins winning. I figured they were going to do a stipulation to end their feud, either a steel cage or an I quit or a last man standing, and they chose the steel cage, which is fine. So I do expect for Seth Rollins to win come Night of Champions, because we all know that it's going to be Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I really do believe that. I think that's where this all goes. Moving on from that, this leads us into Adam Pearce. He's backstage chatting with Lyra Valkyria, who's excited. Who was excited when Adam Pearce said that he thinks he can make it happen. Talking about them going after the women's tag team championships. So Lyra Valkyria said Bayley will be happy, and Lyra said that Adam Pearce is the best. So LA Knight walked in. He talked about the outcome of last Friday's Fatal 4-Way. He accused Adam Pearce of being biased against him. He said he's going to do things his way, and as a result, he left. So, okay, that's fine. There's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Chad Gable. He was interviewed backstage by Jackie Redmond. Chad Gable said that he has realized he has been wrong about a lot in recent years, and he's aiming to make amends. Chad Gable said after he takes care of Rusev, Rey Mysterio made him realize that he has other people to make amends to. So there's that. Okay, that's fine. Moving on, Chad Gable defeats Rusev in a very good match. This match was very solid. Ethan Page got involved a couple of times. Chad Gable fought him off. There was one point in the match where Rusev locked in the accolade. I thought that was going to be it, but Chad Gable fought out of it. Chad Gable was massively over in this match. And then he ended up doing the angle slam, and he followed that with a ankle lock, and Rusev tapped. So this match was really good. I actually enjoyed it. Very good match. I think what they're going to end up doing with Rusev and Ethan Page is probably make them a tag team. I think that would be their best bet. Because with Penta being IC champion, what do you do with Rusev? What do you do with Ethan Page? I do believe at some point Ethan Page will end up winning the IC title at some point, maybe around SummerSlam or something like that, or maybe after SummerSlam. But I think for now, until that happens, I think that Rusev and Ethan Page should be a tag team. I think that would be great. Because what do you do with Rusev? Like, seriously, what do you do with him? So, I couldn't tell you on that one. But I think that would be the best option at this point in time, would be to have Rusev and Ethan Page be a tag team. I think that would be good, for being honest. Moving on from that, well, actually, no. Rusev and Ethan Page, they were going to beat down Chad Gable, and then the Luchadors, Dragon Lee, they showed up, and Rey Mysterio, they showed up. So, the heels, they backed off in the situation. Okay, that's fine. This will probably at some point lead to like maybe a 6-man tag. Maybe somebody else comes in on the heel side of things. So I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. Moving on from that, this leads us into Roman Reigns. He told an attendant that he needed to get everything in the truck and also to make sure that the jet is warmed up. So Jimmy asked Roman if Jacob Fatu isn't supposed to listen to them when he isn't around. Roman said that they can't have infighting. Roman asked, why is LA Knight still running around? Maybe he should send Jacob Fatu. So Jay volunteered, and Jimmy said he'll talk to him. Okay, that's fine. Moving on. We get a vignette of Bron Breakker. He's wearing a hoodie, which was pretty nice. So, Bron Breakker said that Bron Breakker said that Seth was playing victim. But Seth Rollins preyed on other people to help him achieve glory just for himself. He talked about facing him in a steel cage at Night of Champions. Bron Breakker said, if you're locked inside a cage with a dog, the dog always makes it out. I like that. Good stuff there. Good stuff. Moving on, this leads us into LA Knight. He got a massive reaction. So, LA Knight, he laid down in the ring and he got on the mic. He asked the crowd if anybody missed what happened on SmackDown. He said that's how he ended his night. LA Knight said that he had to get to Baltimore, and now that he's home. So LA Knight said he didn't return home a king or a champion. He said it's still his game despite not having a famous dad. He said he's watching Roman Reigns manipulate Jacob Fatu. He said soon he'll have his own meme coin to scam each and every one of you. He said it's tough for him to be angry over what happened on Friday because he expected it. So Jimmy comes out. Jimmy said that he was just out there to talk to him. He said a lot of crap went down a few years ago, but it's different now. He said Sokoa doesn't run with them, and he knows it. LA Knight said he doesn't know anything, but he saw Solo help Jey win. He asked if they're not going to come looking for him if he goes and finds Solo and smacks him back to factory settings. Jimmy said that LA Knight's spot on, and if he gets a chance to face Solo one-on-one, he has his word. May the best man win. So Jey shows up. So Jey's full of piss and vinegar. Jey said what Jimmy's saying to him is right. He said they told him over and over again that Solo is on his own and that he needs to accept that. LA Knight gets on the mic and told him he needs to stop. LA Knight asked if he wants... No, Jimmy asked if LA Knight wants to accept him as his tribal chief. Jey said that he's better than LA Knight. He beat him on Friday, fair and square, on his own. So he wants him to acknowledge him. LA Knight says with all the number he has to deal with, and it's a bit of a compelling offer. He says he'll acknowledge him, but you can kiss his ass. And then so a brawl ensued. So the Usos got the upper hand on LA Knight for a brief moment. LA Knight and Jey, they scuffled for a brief moment. Jimmy broke it up. Jimmy ended up super kicking LA Knight. And then Jey ended up bringing in a steel chair. LA Knight got the steel chair, beat up both the Usos, and there's that. So this is fine. It does seem like they're going to continue this LA Knight Jey Uso feud. So I wouldn't be shocked that if on Friday, hopefully LA Knight does show up. They gave this segment quite a little bit of time, about a good 8 to 10 minutes worth of time. And from out of that, it seems like we're going to get a feud between LA Knight and Jey Uso. And I think that to me is fine. So that means that Oba Femi does have a chance of actually winning the tournament, and he should. He should. Because if Jey Uso wins, I'm going to be fucking pissed. I'm going to be heated. But this was okay. So hopefully, LA Knight beat up the Usos, and then out of nowhere, Jacob Fatu showed up and he destroyed LA Knight. He applied the Tongan death grip, and that was all she wrote. So that's fine. It is what it is. Moving on. This leads us into Charlotte Flair. She defeated Roxanne Perez. Match was pretty good. Roxanne, she's great in ring. So she ended up working on the hand of Charlotte. Charlotte's chops are not good. Those chops are awful. They're awful. Charlotte ends up winning via the figure eight. I wish she would have won via the natural selection. It would have made more sense. I kind of hate when wrestlers tap out sometimes, but it is what it is. I mean, they don't care about Roxanne Perez, really. So, whatever. Moving on. This leads us into Javon Evans. He came out. He got a good reaction. He was interviewed by Jackie Redmond. So, he said he was going to make this short and sweet. He talked about how he's going to beat Jey Uso at on Friday. So Logan Paul showed up. So Logan Paul, he's still injured. He's still has an injured tricep. And basically Logan Paul made his return to put over Javon Evans, saying that he has a message for him. He said that he's a generational talent and he's got untapped potential. But he sees him succeeding more as a killer without the good guy veneer. And Logan Paul invited Javon Evans to join the division. Javon said, hell nah. So this pissed off Logan Paul. He said, it's not an invitation, it's a mandate. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of shit is this? So, Javon Evans said that you're in... Javon Evans told him he better back up off, or he'll leave Baltimore with no arms. So Austin Theory had some words, and then it led to a match. So Javon Evans ended up defeating Austin Theory. I don't give a fuck about any of this. Bron Breakker showed up, got involved, and they ended up beating up Javon Evans for a brief moment. Then the Street Profits showed up, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So there's that, and that was it. I don't care about any of this shit at all. I really don't. I don't give a fuck about this shit. This is dumb. The Vision is one of the worst stables. Next to the System, the Death Riders, the Conglomeration, the MFTs. Like, these stables are just awful. Just awful. I don't care about this. Moving on. So Jacob Fatu, he runs into Roman Reigns. He said he got LA Knight, but the twins aren't happy about it. So Roman said he's not surprised because they don't understand him. Jacob Fatu says no one's ever understood him. Roman Reigns says he does. And as long as Jacob Fatu understands him, there's no stopping them. Then Roman said he needed one more thing. And then he pulled in Jacob Fatu and said something to him quietly off mic. So that's pretty cool there. I'm interested in seeing what that was, what he mouthed to Jacob Fatu. I actually kind of do like this. I really do. Could it be at some point in the story where we end up getting Zilla Fatu showing up? And I think that could happen. Moving on, main event of the evening. Oba Femi defeats Dominic Mysterio. He advances in the King of the Ring. So, Dom ended up using the ring hammer. Oba ended up chunking Dom over the announce table. Dom ended up going into the crowd. Oba ended up beating up JD McDonough. Dom ended up low blowing Oba. He ended up hitting the 619 with the bell hammer. Ended up hitting the frog splash. Oba kicked out at 1, which was hilarious. I loved it. Then he ended up doing like 8 or 9 uppercuts to both JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio. Then Oba ended up doing his reverse back suplex or whatever, his throw, followed up by the fall from grace, 1, 2, 3, and then that was it. So Oba then gets on the mic. He said he's one match away. He said then the ruler will have his crown. Oba said he will beat who he needs to beat. He mentioned Brock Lesnar again. This has been a third straight week in a row that he's mentioned him. Oba said he thought that this would be the night Brock would arrive. Oba said he used to look up to him as a man, and now he questions whether he's a man at all. Oba asked if he'll duck him forever. Oba said he's the ruler, the destroyer, and the mountain that Brock cannot climb, and the beast slayer, and a future king of the ring. He said that's how he'll be remembered. Oba said Brock would just be the man who ran from Oba Femi, and then that was the show. So, good stuff there. I actually do like this. Eventually, Brock will show up at some point. He probably will show up at Night of Champions. I think that makes the most sense to just do an angle. And we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But Raw overall was okay. Again, Jacob Fatu is now officially part of the Bloodline. That's fine. Oba advances. That makes sense. So, there's that. Charlotte and Iyo, they advance as well. So, whatever. Everything else on the show was so-so. But what did you guys think? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.